Today we want to look into a few support cases because I'm Alicia from customer success. So on a daily basis, we also try to figure out how we can improve our support. And we're also very excited to have the automations feature now, so that we can automate, optimize. And today I want to show you a few examples that we use, but also we're seeing our customers use already. So very typical cases, especially if you're new to automations. Um, like the basic cases, very simple, but with a few details that really make them special. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting webinar today. And I'm excited for you to be here and to join me with this one.
All right, that's great. So, I think we're all curious to see
Yes,
what you
I
built.
will share my screen so that you can see what I'm talking about.
Hmm.
Yeah, so you should see my screen right now.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so we're on in the super chat environment. I don't know if you already worked with automations, but if you're curious too, yeah, you're gonna see some examples today. So I opened the automations here. I brought two cases today. One is a case for especially for the beginning. So you have a support case. For example, you want to inform your customers about your new WhatsApp channel that you're now offering support via WhatsApp. And they start texting you on WhatsApp, and you want to distribute them. You want to segment them. You want to internally organize how you're going to deal with them. And I'm going to show you in this automation how we're going to do that. So with an automation, you always have a trigger in the beginning. You can choose between a few different triggers. This automation is using the new incoming message trigger. This means that whenever a message written by a client is coming in via WhatsApp, this automation triggers right away. So um, the customer sends us a message saying hello or hello, I need help, doesn't matter. And automatically they get this WhatsApp message from us. There are different types of WhatsApp messages. This one is using quick reply buttons, which is very easy for the customer to use. They can just click on a button. The button content will automatically be sent as a message by them to us and will trigger the automation even further. So in this example, we say hello and thank you for your message. How can we help you? And here we distribute between three different parts, and we start using three different paths as well. So the automation will follow three different paths for now because we have three different buttons. And it also depends on how many departments you have, for example. But in this example, we use three. We have invoice, orders, and support. And we follow the invoice path first. So going up here, um, I chose to assign this conversation because in our case, we know Jonas is doing all the invoices. So we'll just simply assign this conversation to Jonas, meaning that when Jonas logs into Super Chat, he'll see the assigned conversations to him in a separate folder in his inbox, which is very practical to use. And then following this path afterwards, so the client doesn't see that Jonas is going to be answering him. Um, they only see the message that's being sent to them. Here, could you now please specify what we can help you with? So we're asking for details. This time it's just a simple message, no buttons, no anything. But we're following this node. So we call these different widgets nodes. We follow this send message node with a wait for answer node. This one is very practical because we say, okay, this time we don't have an input by a button, but we still want them to do something. So we're asking for details. So we want them to text us what the specific case is. So we're saying, okay, automation, you're supposed to wait for an answer. The input type is supposed to be text. And we give them one retry. You can specify this. You can also have them do it 3 times. And you can also say how long this automation should wait for the contact to give us this input. And I just put down 4 hours as an example. And when we receive the text input within 4 hours, the user can retry one time. The user will get this message. It's again a simple message with no buttons. Thanks for letting us know. One of our employees will be with you shortly. And then we have a waiting node, meaning that this whole automation that was triggered by a new incoming message is not triggered again right away when the customer keeps texting us. So in this case, we have all the information we need. The contact, the conversation is assigned to Jonas, who's gonna deal with it. But until he gets back, the customer might text us again, and then we don't want the automation to trigger again and again and again. So we say, okay, we're going to have a delay. 3 days, we're going to wait for 3 days until this automation can be started again. Yeah, so that's one very practical. And this is the end of the first path. Now, zooming out a little bit and going back to the beginning, where we have the second path. Also, when you see the whole picture, you can kind of see, you can have different paths, but they can all come back together again and follow the same end trail, for example, as you can see here. So only the middle part is a bit different because I wanted to show you different options. So for the orders department, when the customer clicks on the order button, what happens next is they get moved to a different mailbox. So typically when you connect your WhatsApp to Super Chat, you have one mailbox, all messages get sent into this mailbox, but you can have multiple mailboxes and you can distribute messages into the different mailboxes with an automation, for example. So for the invoices, we said, okay, we only have one guy doing the invoices. We're just going to assign him the invoices. We don't need an extra mailbox for this. But for the order cases, usually we have many orders, so we need a different inbox. So we created one in the settings. You can do that beforehand. And called it order requests, and all messages that come in and they click order are moved to this mailbox. And then next up is the assign conversation node, meaning that we now want all employees that have access to this mailbox to be assigned to this message, or at least one of them. So we can allocate this conversation to one of the users mentioned below. So the logic we're using here, you can also adjust that, is the round robin principle, meaning that we say, okay, between these 3 people, just one is supposed to be chosen randomly. The conversation is assigned randomly with this principle. And yeah, they have it in their inbox then. And then next up is again the path that we already followed. They get the message, they have to give us a text input, they get the message that will be with them shortly, the delay again. So the last path is the same also for the second button. Then the last button, when someone clicks support, this path follows here, and we have the add label node. So this is also another type of node which you can use to optimize your internal organization. All these little nodes that don't send a message to the customer, but that do anything internally within Super Chat, just assigning conversations, moving them from inbox to inbox, adding labels. This is all for you, so you can optimize your organization within your support system. So the add label node is also very practical. We add the label waiting for support. So this label gets added to the conversation itself. You can use it as kind of a ticket system. So the conversation will have the label waiting for support put next to the conversation, and we can also filter conversations by this label then, which is very practical for our support team. And then again, they get the message to please specify, put in the text input, and so on and so on. So in this case, we have three segments, as I said in the beginning. We can distribute them into the different segments. They will be handled differently, but in the end, they all get the same message, and they are just distributed within our employees, within the team. Everyone knows what they have to do. Then they can filter conversations by the label. They have the right conversation in the right mailbox, or they have it assigned to them personally. So this is how to optimize also efficiently working on those support requests that come in from the customers on a daily basis. And before there might be any questions, I also wanted to briefly show you, in case you have more than 3 departments or more than 3 segments you want to depart the customers into, that's also not a problem. Just gonna show you, we also have the WhatsApp list. So using the WhatsApp quick replies, up to 3 options. WhatsApp list, you can add up to 10 options. So the list has also a few different options. You can have different sections. So the list can be also minimized or maximized. And when you maximize the list, you can see all the options. You can give each option an option title, a description. So also if you have 3 options, but you want it to be a bit more detailed, for example, you could have invoice, and then let me show you. So it's invoice, and then do you have any trouble finding your invoice? So you just specify it, so everyone really knows, okay, when I click this button, I get this information. So that's how you can use the list as well. Different types of WhatsApp messages, but this is how many clients and also we use the automation to just simply distribute segment customers that come in on a first-hand basis. Yes. As I don't see the chat right now, I was wondering if Oliver maybe could tell me if there are any questions about this automation, about any node.
At the moment, there's no question whatsoever in the chat, so I think that's a good sign that you
Yes.
explained everything very good in detail. If there are any questions, I already wrote it in the chat. Please just hit us up right now. I'm having a look at all times at the chat, and now you have the chance. You have the expert Alicia here with us, so don't miss it if you have any questions about this topic.
Yes. Okay. For now, I think then we're good. We can also, I think I will show the second automation first, and then maybe we can also try out one of them to see.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Or let's try out this one. This one now. I will share the QR code, and
I
I
will
will
test it too.
also, yeah, you can test it, Oliver, and then we can see, you can choose one path, and then we can see how it works
All right
in
then.
chat.
So hi there.
Yes. And we can see his message gets in here. So he just sent us a text. He
Which
gets,
path should I go, or does it matter, or can I take any path?
I think you can take any path.
All right. So I want some thing to know about my order. Could you now please specify what we can help you with?
Yes. And you can see here in the chat, we also get all the information, right? So this is the second path. This automation was supposed to put this chat into the mailbox order request, which it did. We have the specific date and time. And it also got randomly assigned to one of the team members, Maurizio in this case. And now the message, could you now please specify? And we get the text input. So we also send the answer. And now we see here the chat was assigned to Maurizio, which means when he logins to Super Chat,
Mhm.
he sees here in assigned to me this conversation and can then answer the client. Yes. So now you saw it in action, how it can be super easy, super fast. So without having to put into any effort manually yet, the client already knows, okay, someone's there, someone's going to deal with my problem, and you have the time. You can take the time to answer properly.
So this is kind of an interesting point because it's a mixture of between an automation that is kind of still running and gave me some information before and asked the customer for some more information. So now the handover to a human being, like to a support coworker, um, can be way easier. He or she already has all the necessary data, maybe in the contact, because you can also add contact attributes via such an automation.
Yeah.
For all the data that you already ask of the customer, you can also add it to a custom contact attribute. And now the human being really takes over, deals with the problem, looks in the system, where's the package, for example, and then can answer really quick the customer. If I just would like to know if there is any option that I dealt with the problem, I found the issue in the system, and now I have a different automation that I would like to trigger, but kind of manually. Is this already possible with automations?
Yes, it is. We have, so there's different triggers. This one is using the new incoming message, meaning that everything in here is within the automation. But as you said, moving forward, now we have in the specific case, we have a person, in this case, Maurizio, dealing with the client manually. He might also want to trigger an automation manually again, which he can do with this little flash button, start automation, in the chat box. So anytime, you feel like, okay, now I can use an automation again, because you might want a mixture between automating things and also the personal contact with your clients, also for quality reasons. But when it's time again to use an automation, you can do this with the manual trigger. I can show you, I also brought an automation with the manual trigger.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Especially in the case, so we have a support case, we have all the information. Maurizio now dealt with the case, the customer is happy, and now he says, okay, let's automate again. Let's manually trigger the automation that's going to ask for a review and clean up the whole thing internally. So this automation is using the manual trigger. So you can basically start off with the manual trigger, which you can then access with the Flash. I can show you in a little bit. And this automation is then triggering a WhatsApp template. So before we used the WhatsApp quick reply buttons, now we're using the WhatsApp template. Just a quick reminder, a WhatsApp template has to be created in the settings first in order to use it in an automation. Just keep that in mind. And then you can just choose the template you wish to choose here in the automation. I created a template for a review case. So this template is asking the customer for their review, to rate their experience with us. It's using a call to action button, which has the link behind it to our review profile. So I don't know if you've seen that yet. It's really nice in Super Chat in the settings. You can create a review profile, meaning you create the profile, you link your review accounts if you have, any review profiles on Google or whatever. You can link it to the profile. It generates one link you can then distribute via WhatsApp, for example, or via other channels to the customers you want to ask a review from. So we put this behind the CTA, meaning when you click on it, you get access to the review page and so on. What then happens in the background, what the customer doesn't see, is they get added to a contact list. I created a contact list called Happy Customers because I want to be able in the future to filter by happy customers. I want my customers or my contacts in Super Chat to be filtered within happy customers and other customers, so that I can probably send them campaigns if I have any special deals, any special offers, because I know, okay, I have happy customers that already enjoyed our service once. They might enjoy it again. So I just send out a campaign, meaning sending out one WhatsApp template to many people at once. And I can filter by the happy customer contact list. So very practical to just insert this note here so that you already have the information in the system. Yeah. And then next up, we clean up a little. You saw before in the other automation that we're able to add labels to contacts, to conversations, I mean. You can do this manually, you can do this with the automation. And in the end, when the issue is dealt with, we might want the labels to be removed again. We can do this manually, but in this case, we already know, okay, the support case is finished. We sent out the review, we added it to the contact list. Now we want all labels to be removed just to clean up, because in case the customer sends us a WhatsApp again in 2 weeks, we want it to be clean, not any support labels or anything, because we don't know what the case is going to be then yet. So we remove all labels that could be attached to this conversation in this node. And then at the very end, we mark this conversation as done. There are the different folders here. We have the open folder and the done folder, meaning automatically this conversation is going to get into the done, going to get moved into the done folder. Whenever the customer is sending you a message again, they will get moved back into the open folder. So no worries about that. But just to keep the open messages a bit cleaned up, this is a very easy node to add to just have a straight process, and a clean process. Yeah. And this is the automation for the review. And I already, you see it's active already, so I can show you here with the automation. Yeah, I can choose the automation manually. So just clicking on the flash, I choose this one. Once I click on start, it will start right away. So you see, we send the template to Oliver, rate your experience with us. He can click on leave your review, and we already see the chat is marked as done. No labels attached. Yes, so this is the automation using the manual trigger.
Perfect. Nice. So this is kind of again a handover. So before we had the handover from the customer went into the automation, then there was the handover to the human being, that was kind of solving the issue. And then the human being or the support colleague can hand over again via this trigger manual. It's called manual trigger. Via this manual trigger, can push the customer into an automation once again, which then kind of completes the whole journey of I have an issue, I contact the support solves my problem, and then I give a good review for the customer support here. So that's a very good example. And I think David just wrote in the chat, thank you for your presentation. It was all very clear. Great tools to distribute incoming communication among members of the team and facilitate collaboration within a business. Exactly. So this is also what makes automations in Super Chat so interesting, because it's a combination not just between human being and automation, but between internal and external. So you can create kind of chat flows that Alicia just showed you. And at the same time, the automation can help you organize your super chat environment way more, with contact attributes, with labels on chats, with contact lists, with moving it to done. Yeah, so, and there is a lot more to come. This is what we can promise you. Our engineers are already working on way more features. The next ones will be already rolled out during the next week. We will have new filters, which will be super interesting to filter contacts more by contact attributes that you can previously set via an automation and then filter them in a different automation. We will have more triggers, such like date, because many of our customers, and this is also kind of a part of a good customer journey, I think, for an automated birthday message. It's such a small thing, but one customer before just said, I think it's a really nice surprise to get a birthday message from one of your favorite brands. This kind of makes the WhatsApp chat, which is already on a personal level, more or less, way more personal. And I think it's a great bond that this one can create. So there are many more ideas to come, which you can look forward to. And we will all launch them in Super Chat and show them also in the English-speaking Super Chat community.
Yeah.
So don't hesitate to join us there.